Back to our conversations, Kizanganya. That's why we're here today, to immerse ourselves in Nganya culture. As Eric put it, Mariam has also come back. She's joined us. She'll tell us about her experience and exactly what she was being told over on that side. But we are now also speaking to other players in the industry. Eric put it well just now. Must it be a culture that also has elements of chaos? How do we make sure that we have a culture that people are proud of, identify with, but also integrate law and order so that everybody wins? We're joined by various people across here.
Yes. I'll start from where I am.
Okay,
then we go like that, and then we'll be panning. So next to me is Jemo. He's a designer, he's a blogger, he's somebody who's immersed himself in the culture, and he lives the culture. And then next to him is an investor, also somebody who has immersed himself in the culture, has grown in the industry, and he'll be telling us his story. His name is Wilfred Bosire. He's Secretary General of the Mass Mobility Operators Association, but also he runs, he's an investor in this sector. And then we have from the County Government of Nairobi, the Chief Officer in charge of mobility, Michelle Waikenda, representing the County Government of Nairobi and what they're doing. We also then have Janet Bogwa, who's next to Michelle.
And next to Janet Bogwa, we have John Mwangi Kamau, Chair Automatic Shuttle Limited. We are back with our graffiti expert, number one, Asila, who he joined us at 7 a.m. to give us just an overview of how graffiti plays an integral part in Nganya culture. And now we also have Mariam Bishara.
True. Right back. And behind me also have two gentlemen. I have Gigi and Lentao, who were the guys in Moxie. Moxie is the Nganya right behind you right there. Of course, they are the captains of Moxie pale nyuma. Lentao pale ndio ako in charge. And Nikama...
So the captain, the first officer.
Captain, the first officer. Now, let me tell you guys, coming back here was a struggle. I can't lie.
Okay.
It was a struggle.
Why is that?
Because it's such a party in there.
Must I go back?
Must I go back? Must I go back?
You could have left me where I was. Somebody said Mariam came ready. She came decked out, the earrings, everything. Like she was ready for this party.
I knew I had to match with Moxie. Nilijua. Maybe tukimaliza show mimi na bebwa. Nenda home. It's over for you guys.
It does the Rungai route.
It does.
Yeah.
No wonder. She's just like, now I watch her.
Leo pilau niko madhe.
As Fridays should be.
As Fridays should be.
You said something integral when we were opening this segment, which is where law and order need to come in to meet culture and identity. So I wonder whether it's worth starting with the regulatory aspect as we hear more from the design, the art, the business. And these two gentlemen, by the way, he has a pretty incredible story that we'll share with you of how, just rising through the ranks. So what are the opportunities as well that exist? How do you start from being a makanga all the way to being a business owner? What does that mean? Michelle, I think I'll start with you. Obviously, we've been talking about Nganya culture as this very imperative and essential identity that people have in the country. First of all, how do you react to Nganya culture? Is it something that you frown upon? Is it something you understand and appreciate and embrace? And then even as you answer that, let's talk about how we can begin to find the law meeting the culture.
Okay, thank you very much, Janet. For us as a county, we are excited about the Nganya culture here in Nairobi County. It's part of our culture. It's what makes us to be Nairobians. We appreciate it. We grew up with it. So it's something we're excited about. We support the industry as well. And we work with, like the chairman sitting next to me here, to do everything possible to ensure that the environment that they have here in the county is one that is conducive for them to make money. Additionally, we work with them to ensure that they're following the law. So long as they're following the law and they're following they're not obstructing and ensuring that there's order in the CBD especially, we are here for it. We're here to support them. Our job is to ensure that they're able to make money and advance the jobs.
Make money, advance the jobs. How do you then reconcile the fact that there's also a perception, Nganya culture comes with lawlessness, it comes with flouting the rules, it comes with all of those things. How do you reconcile the two and the culture, those who are in the mix of it, the designers, the drivers, how are they responding to this increased pressure and mounting pressure to just be able to also meet the law halfway?
I believe that the people who flout the law are very few. And what you find is that you find one or two or three doing those things, but they cannot speak on behalf of the entire community. We have so many buses and matris that have amazing artwork and branding on them. So I think it would be unfair to say that this few that we see represent the entire batch, because they don't. And we deal with a few that flout the law or don't follow the rules individually, as they are themselves, without having to categorize them for the entire industry.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking we live in a very fast-paced city, and sometimes it's hard to keep up with like all the changes that happen, even from a regulatory perspective. So sometimes it's like, easy regulations, it's like they don't make sense. And I know I'll have to ask Lentao and Gigi specifically, and owners as well. Sometimes when it feels like regulation makes sense, alafu pia the regulators will also tell us when these things are not making sense, when nganyas are not making sense. So that we hear each other out and then we find like some common ground. So wacha nianze hapa na Lentao. Niambie, kuna regulations zingine that don't make sense to you, they're like, mbona nisieke tint, ama mbona nisi, and I don't know if that's actually real regulation, ama naisikianga tu. Are there situations like that?
Hizo nini, tukieka tint, sitangekuwa tunasumbuliwa na polisi.
Mic yako kidogo tukusikie.
Sasa tukikatini senge tunasumbuliwa. Sasa unaeka senge tunasumbuliwa, lakini tunapenda sana kuweka tent juu. Watu wanasikia comfortable kwa ndani juu jua haiwachomi. Unaona? So napenda hiyo kazi juu yenyewe ni kazi inatulea. Tunasomesha watoto wenyewe. Watoto wangu wamesoma kwa university sasa na hiyo kazi. Lakini sasa ni kazi, tunafanya kazi ambayo ni culture tunapenda.
No, ni kazi na ni culture. I like that umeisema hivyo, because that's the truth. But when you think of the things that make your job hard to do, nini nakusumbua kwa barabara?
Ndio tu challenge za polisi, lakini tunasikizana, nafanya kazi. Kisa hiyo hatusumbui sana, siku hizo wamelegeza kidogo.
Okay. That's a good thing. Gigi, do you agree? Am I work on a different view?
Personally, about mambo ya kusema play loud music, play basically kwa hii culture, what you're trying to do ni like unaweza ona kuna party on wheels. For us Matatu, for us that's it. Utapata nowadays it's even better from say kuja matri nini anasikia the loud music nini vizuri inambamba ile to escape from reality kidogo, unaona. So you get to have that entertainment. So when ukikuja useme ati don't play this music, nganye fake na lights, fake wana nini, remember there's somebody
weka tu mic kidogo a bit closer. Yes.
Sorry, yeah. So remember there's somebody mwenye analisha familia yake, anafanya everything with these all lights. So ni ile tu ni watu tu wameka ni it's an attack to the culture. Sitasema ati juu ukiangalia tukisema if it's breaking the law, of which I don't encourage that. It's everywhere. Be it Matatu, be it anywhere. Hata Mercedes is apita hapa hivi amefanya ako drunk anafanya whatever. So it's not about to culture. Unajua sio America ile mentality ati hizo gari that's not the way it's supposed to be. So for us here tuko kazi, at the same time we want to give citizens, Kenyans, a unique feeling, a sense of belonging, nona. So at least hizo kitu kidogo kama inatuweka on the map. Unaweza angalia walami wazungu wanakuja huko, wakiangalia Simba, the next thing ataka kuona Moxie, nona. Yeah, so for me.
But acha nikuulize tu, how loud is too loud? And this is a question I'm just asking everyone. How loud is too loud? Because I personally have a high threshold for what is loud music. I like my music loud, but pia nikianganya sometimes go like hapa sasa hapa tume. So I'm like, how loud is too loud? How do you know how umizi mtu masikio? What's the difference between party and eardrums bursting?
So the same way tumesema kuna advancements zimefanyika. So tukiweka sound kwa ngoma, wenye wanafunga sound kwa matri, hawafungi sound to make noise. Wanafunga sound kukupatia that thrilling feeling kwa masikio yako. So hata nikikwasha system ndio it's loud.
Yes.
But for you you'll accept it because there's that feeling unai feel. Si ati kelele. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
No, nakuelewa actually, because nimeingia Moxie sahi and the sound is balanced, and that's the thing. I can tell there's advancements because in the past nimepandanganya and you're like it's just bass in your ear and it's heavy and it's loud, and then there's balanced sound, which is what Moxie has, right? So it doesn't feel like it's attacking you. It's technology pia inasonga, sindio?
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
I know we'll come to Latif to just speak to the business element of it. But before we get there, I wanted to also speak to the content creation bit of it. Just before we come to business, Anita and Deta, I know I see that behind me. Anita, you'll tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into reviewing Ganyas. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first female or one of the first female Ganya culture reviewers. Why that was important to you, and then also to Mariam's question, how much is too much, whether it's noise, whether it's aesthetics, when is it overkill and when is it okay? Go ahead.
My name is Anita. I'm a digital content creator in the Matatu sector, and I'd say the reason as to why I probably had to put myself out there and do Nganya content was because I saw Nganya culture is something that brings people together. I mean, you can see the happiness when people are boarding Nganyas. You can see the togetherness and all that. So that is one thing that made me want to indulge myself in the culture. And also I can say, I also liked the fact that it brings also this young generation together. Like, it is a source of living for every, like it is a source of living, I can say, for these youngsters, you know. Let's say when someone does not get a white collar job, they can get into the Matatu, get into the circle and get a job. So that is one thing I saw in the Nganya culture, bringing people together and also being a source of living to people. On to the next question was, how loud is too loud? Okay. I can say nowadays there are very many advancements, like utapata sound yenye inaekwa ya sahi, si sound yenye ilikuwa inaekwa ya kitambo. Our people, the people who do sound like the audio and all the others, like wame come up na a lot of advancements in such a way that music sahi, it is like when you hear the music you love it. I mean that loud is a loud that is bearable. Yes, that is what I can say.
There is also another content creator who's next to me here. I mean, he does that. He's a designer and he's a content creator. Before then, we come into the investors and just understand, ask those same questions to the investors. Umeweka pesa yako tens of millions into this moving thing, right? What's the difference between, you know, obeying the law and breaking the law? But Jemo, you are a content a designer and also you're a blogger about this culture. Hii kazi yote vile ulianza, vile ulisema utaanza hii job, utafanya hii kazi. As all those questions have been asked, unaona sheria iko wapi, creativity iko wapi, na biashara iko wapi? Because there are those three things. Kuna mseo biashara, kuna crew, wanataka creativity na kila kitu, na hata na customers, na kuna sheria.
Okay, kitu ya kwanza kile naweza sema, there's a system ambaye for now young generation tunafunzwa na Matatu culture, because as a blogger, most of us tuko hapa ku create Matatu culture, not to capture. And when we are creating Matatu culture, we are part of Matatu culture. Our lifestyle, our life, it is Matatu culture. When you see my face, there is nothing else niko nayo more than Matatu. Mi sina degree ati ngoje ndio hii degree. Na. But niko na manyanga ambayo mimi na stand nayo. Kuna ile manyanga na represent ati hata leo naweza ngangana na George Ruto nimwambie, you know what, uko na Moxie. Mimi niko na opposite, because mimi ni opposition leader. Naweza speak niambie even the young generation ambaye wanataka ku express their feelings toward their talent. Because Matatu is a moving canvas. As you see, like Landlord, this is a Matatu that in a hit street of Umoja. And the graffiti art ambazo mnaona daily, kila saa ukiwa hapo unaona hii graffiti inakaaje. No, it is a canvas of an artist. It is a portrait. Hizo portrait tunachora, hizo words tunaziita. Like Dandora, they have Black Market. Umoja, they have Opposite. Rongai, they have Moxie. Iyo title na unity, as we say, Matri ni sisi, ni unity. It ni lifestyle ambaye apart from wengi wanasema ni culture, but for me means of transport ndio the only thing imebaki imeshikilia Kenya mahali mko. There's nothing else that government inaweza ringa nayo. Sasa ile mnaona hizo sheria zinawekwa, gava inatafuta clout anytime imekosa kazi inasema hizi matatu ndio juzi ndio matatu ziko na cloud kubwa. Hata MP tu akiboeka hivyo I go irrelevant, anaamka tu anasema leo najisikia namba 3. No. Please, kuna matatu culture na matatu culture ni culture yenyewe. Like ndio tuko na Ministry of Agriculture na Culture na Art, and hizo hatujui. Hiyo ministry je tusaidia, but manyanga moja ikiingia hivi inasaidia street mzima. Ime create employment. Kama as a designer naweza sema nimeweza kujiexpress life yangu. Sijaingia kwa depression because nilipotelea kwa matatu. Sijaingia kwa crime kwa sababu nilipotelea kwa matatu. Umenipata? Nimepata the family through matatu. So apart from being the culture, India na transform youth yote Kenya mzima.
Aya. But sasa, it's time to have an honest conversation. Na mimi naisema from lived experience, mbona Nganya haziezi fuata traffic laws? That's the honest truth. Why can't Nganyas follow traffic laws? Or why don't? Because can't implies that kuna iyo inability, but won't. They can. It's why don't they? Na mimi nasema hivyo because najua tukifika hapo, not railways, actually from GPO there used to be a hole literally in the fence because Nganya zinapita hapo zikipiga U-turn, a hole in the fence that separates Haile Selassie one side from another. Na Nganya peke yake itapita hiyo, si mat, si gari zingine, right? We've also seen Nganya ikipita imejaa watu juu wakiwa on top of the vehicle, not inside, on top of the vehicle. All really big safety violations, right? And I'm not saying that it's every Nganya that does that, but there's a big problem with Nganyas and regulations and following safety regulations. Shida iko wapi?
As venye introduce this conversation, nilisema yangu nasimama na opposite. We are here as Silo unaona leo tumeamka like Friday, starting from Friday, Saturday, man, ni Saturday for the boys. Watoto watapotelea na drugs ati tushinde tumeboeka hapo mtaani na manyanga zimejaa hapa tao. Hata shinda tukingojea ati wase kile gava inasema, man, we are sick of government. So the only thing we can do ni kukama hapa CBD. Tujuezi Nganya zinasema nini? Sheria nayo. At the end of the day tunajua kitu moja. If you dig deep inside matatu culture, kuna politics ambazo zimeingia kwa matatu culture na hizo ndio zina destroy hizo rules. Wamenunua madereva. Wale madereva tulikuwa tukijua ni wanoma. The elite wanakuja tu wanachukua one driver anakuwa puppet wao. They control the driver. Like hizi Nganya mnasikia ati ni ya fulani. They are doing politics with them. At the end of the day, see, like nishaona mtu regular mwananchi wa kawaida ameunda ana follow sheria vizuri, but saa zile operations zitakuja ile inavunjaga sheria ndio itashikwa.
Okay, so you're saying that so what you're saying is kuna community that matatu culture is part of, but now kuna wengine wanaingia and they are disrupting that community, including flouting traffic rules.
Yeah.
Okay, and Michelle also said, sio kila mtu, it's like it's a select few. So to your point, Mariam, we know this is an uncomfortable truth, but now we're getting some different information around it. We still need to come back to Wilfred and John, but it looks like it's coming up to 8:30. We'll come back and get reactions from them, just based on what's being said about Nganya culture. Are there some infiltrators who are coming to disrupt the community and unity that Nganya culture brings? And then where does the law come in? Regardless, we do know that laws have been broken. So what happens now? How do we just meet that middle ground? There's also a lot of feedback online. Keep talking to us. We'll read some of the feedback, come back and get reactions and get a deeper understanding of Nganya culture. Fixing the Nation, back in a moment.
400. We're getting back in conversation now. Leo topic Nganya culture. The good, the bad, the in-between, right? The art, the music, the vibes, the tone of a 10. Haya, the sharia, hizo zote. Tunaongea hizo story. But before that, a couple of your comments from YouTube. I know you guys are active. Today.
Today guys are really active. Kuna mtu amesema Nganya culture for life. Mariam ukutusho ndani ya Nganya. Did you go in? You didn't manage.
I did not go. It was a bit dark.
It was a bit dark.
Towards the end we'll try and get a view of Palendani.
David Mangera
it's a mood, it's a vibe.
Yes.
But now unfortunately we need a little bit more lighting.
It's a vibe that doesn't translate on air. Good job kwa ground, especially watching myself. And then we have about loud music. This is Job. I guess it depends with age. I boarded my first Nganya from CBD to Kiambu. I had to alight as we left town. At 35, my ears couldn't take in the loud music. Abel Collins amesema, there's a fine line between Matatu culture and outright road recklessness. And far too often, that line is crossed by those Nganyas. Finally, we have Paul Minor, Staki Mapepe. Nganya culture in Kenya started way back. Now it's souped up. It has employed very many youth, especially in graffiti. It only needs a little sanity. So everyone is pretty much speaking to the same thing. Beautiful culture, but where can it also integrate some law? Latif.
Yeah, as we're getting to understand this culture, we also know that we've been told by a designer, Asila, that there are several levels of these matatus. There's the ordinary matatu, there's the mid-table matatu, there's the Nganya, and now Malituko, the World Cup ones, are called Boko. So these Boko ones, these are called balanced. So our guy who was 35 heading to Kiambu, alikuwa ameingia mid-table.
Alikuwa nasikia tu
mwambie ingia mboko
base peke yake
vile Mariam alikuwa ndani ya mboko balanced. Now some of the people who actually have invested in this sector have spent years in the sector, started working in the sector, grew in the sector, and have come to invest in the sector. One of them is Elvis Bosire is currently an owner of Nganya. But he has started this, he has been in this sector for years, and he'll tell us a bit about it as we continue this conversation. First of all, tell us, how long have you been in this sector before I ask you the question about law? Because you have done it from as a crew and now as an owner. When did you start? When did you get into the sector?
I want to confirm I'm not Elvis, I'm Wilfred.
Wilfred.
Yes. I started this Matatu industry around 15 years ago, immediately after high school. I worked as a conductor for a period of around 6 or 7 years. Then I became a Kamagera, just adjacent here.
What's a Kamagera?
Bank. Kamagera is someone who asks passengers to get to board. So I did that for a period of time.
Ule msu wa kujaza
mandai. Beba ngong actually. And I think in 2016, I happened to be featured on NTV when I was a Kamagera. At the same point, and currently I own that company which operate from there called MC Sacco. That is my Sacco.
We actually have we have footage of you in those years as a Kamagera.
Yeah, so I've grown in the industry and I know what the industry can do. And the culture, actually over time the transport sector has changed. And hopefully if the government and the regulators are patient, I think in the next 10 years, the public transport, I think almost 99% of Nairobians or the commuters in Nairobi will be using PSV. On the Nganyas, because I've been a conductor of Nganya before, how we used to behave then and how the drivers and the conductors called drivers behave today is slightly civilized. You know, Kenya, the young people are getting more educated, so even the behavior is slightly changing other than few number of crews that...
You're saying the current crew are behaving better than...
Yeah, of course, yes, of course. I know, because I know how the Matatu initially used to behave. A passenger could easily be abused by a conductor, but nowadays totally, because they have integrated, they have a relationship, they have worked together, and most of the crews that work, most of them are graduates. I can tell you, because when I was working as a Kamagera, I had someone who had masters who was working with me, so I know people who are working in the industry, they are illiterate, they are educated. It's not that we don't have enough space to have decent employment. I think instead of the government fighting the industry, they should make sure that they invest into it so that we can formalize the sector. And then even if I graduated from whichever college, I can come to the industry, work and grow, because I know it has a potential. Because in 2016, very few people could believe Bosile could be here today and be doing what he's doing. Because basically I've only done the public transport, and that's where I've been able to grow.
There's a question that you've not answered. Can Matatu crews obey the law?
Yes, of course they can. They can,
So why don't they?
They do. Let me tell you, there's laxity in law enforcement. And this thing, we need to debunk it. A lawbreaker is a lawbreaker. If there's an offense committed, let's not punish the investor. Let's arrest the driver. Whoever who has broken the law, let that lawbreaker face the full force of law. Because apparently what has happened, people have got a reason why they break and they got scot-free. So if a police officer has been given a responsibility of making sure that he enforces the law, let them do that. You see, but if they selectively apply the law, then people will always break. I think what we need to do is now have these law enforcers do what they ought to do. Yeah, because apparently we can't say they are always breaking. There are very few. And what I can tell you in terms of the numbers or the percentage, Nkanya culture is a very huge market in the mostly Nairobians, with Nairobians, but they consist of around 0.2% of the number of PSV that we have. And you see, it's more liked or accepted by the young people.
Okay.
And the young people is a population that we can never, try to ignore.
You can't ignore them.
You've seen what they can be able to do. They can make their decision and they choose or they get what they want.
Okay.
So basically we need to accept and support. So in terms of law enforcement and breaking the law, is a small margin that if the law enforcers will want to implement, I think it's something can be
just a few people. First on the mic to John Mwangi Kamau, who's the chair of the Atomic Shuttle Limited. Mwangi, you are an investor and you represent investors in this sector.
True.
Do you agree with what Bosire is saying? It's only a few who don't obey the law, and it should be the police who should enforce the law.
In fact, I'm in agreement with what he's saying, because I believe a big number obey the law. And I also believe there are upcoming companies who are obeying the law, and they are training their drivers to defensive driving. They are training their conductors, customer service, and right. But again, as he's saying, we have a problem. Money is exchanging hands, and that we have a corrupt system whereby the policeman can see there's a problem somewhere, and he will not punish that problem because he's receiving money from those crews. Yes.
Pass on the mic. I know, Mariam,
Right.
you're the one who had asked this question initially. Do you have a
Asila
pushback?
actually has a response. He wanted to respond before.
Okay.
I have so many questions, so many responses, but watch that one's Asila, and then we can hear from actually, who do I want to ask a question? Bosire again, a question for you, and of course I want also Gigi and Lentao to respond, because wakiambiwa, it's now the drivers who bear the responsibility. It's them who are in that car every day. Let's hear from them. But Asila.
Okay, I want to respond to the breaking rules. Si manyanga pekee na break rules. Hiyo ni first thing. Juu hata personal kama hii inapita hapa, ikipiga U-turn haitakaa kitu. Ukweli. But when Anganya comes right now, ipige tu hiyo U-turn, itakaa kitu ugly mbaya sana. Mona. Kitu ya pili, I don't siko pande ya watu wa kubreak law and whatever, but first thing tunafaa tuangalie kwanza O dereva mwenye ana break low anafanya nini? Tuseme unaendesha gari, watu wamejaa huko juu, unaruka hizo mavitu zenye wanafanya. What runs in your mind? Juu uko hapo kazi, sawa? Hiyo kitu inafanya ati gari zinakuja zinavutwa. How does it make sense? Hakuna mali ati yangu imeambia dereva afanye kitu mbaya kwa barabara. Umeona? Kitu ingine yenye nataka kuongelea. Matatu, it's a free business. Anyone can do matatu business, no matter who you are. So ati sijui ati nani amenunua matatu inakuwa mambo mingi, sijui ati juu sijui gari ni ya nani. Mimi tangu niko hapa nimejua watu wengi, prominent people owning matatu. Sio kitu imeanza sai. Na ukiona mtu fulani amekuwa na hiyo matatu, inafaa tukue tunafurahia. Juu kama mtu fulani prominent amekuja mpaka akanunua matatu, akaitengeneza manyanga, kumaanisha anatambua culture. So hakuna haja ya kuanza kuingiza siasa mingi ati sijui gari ya nani imefanya nini, gari ya sijui ya nani imefanya nini. Hizo ni siasa, hiyo ni ujinga. Juu matatu lazima iko tu ni business open. Weka unaweza nunua matatu, tuletee, tukuchoree, tufanye kazi. Maisha iendelee. Hivyo ndio life iko. So ati mwanze kuwekea watu lawama ati juu sijui yeye ni nani, yeye ni nani.
Asila, question though.
Yes.
Let's be honest. We know how this country works.
Yes.
The more powerful you are, the easier things are. So, if people are saying Asila amenunua gari, Asila anajulikana, ndio maana nganya Asila ina break laws na nobody says anything, that's a problem.
Okay, it's a problem, but acha tukue too honest. You are my sister and you are an OCS police station flani. Hautani favor? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Vitu zingine haufai kuambiwa na haki. Yaani haufai kuambia usikie. Juu you are my sister and you are una command police station flani ya area yangu. Una expect utani favor? Of course utani favor. That's a fact. Kama yeye ni prominent person, bahati yake hiyo. Umeona? But kwanza kuweka sijui story mingi, sijui whatever happens, whatever. That's an investor. Uni mtu alikaa chini, kumaanisha amekuwa akifuata culture tangu akuwe mdogo, inambamba, lakini hajaipata hiyo opportunity. Unajua kuna watoto wa wadosi huku nje wanaonanga matatu, hawajaipanda matatu kama hiyo venye unaona. Anaionanga kwa Range Rover yake, lakini hajaipata hiyo opportunity. So akipata hiyo opportunity ya kukuja kuinvest hapo, msimfukuze. Tunataka kitu tu iendelee, culture iendelee, to embrace venye tu amekuja, pia sisi tumkaribishe. Janet nimekwambia utaleta nganya, pia yeye tumkaribishe hivyo. Sasa Janet akiona nganya tuanze kusema Jano jua ati Jano ana interview ingi sijui akina nani, ati nganya yake itakuwa hakuna. Hiyo ni ujinga tu. It's a free world. So tunakubali tu kila mtu kama invest kwa matatu culture. Sisi tunataka job.
Okay. Aya. Wacha tuingia kwa county sasa and get their perspective on that. Alafu Bosire nilikuwa nataka kuuliza, mbona kama Gera unakuanga na uongo nyingi? Mine was very simple by the way. Uongo nyingi. Wawili jai. Unaingia hapo, watu wanaanza kutoka. Sasa ni wasita hiyo mathematics inakuanga inatokanga wapi?
I want to revert slightly on Asila.
Yes.
Asila, one thing I want to tell you, in this industry, actually, if there is an industry that invites everyone else without tribe, without class, without anything, is the matatu industry. In large, not only Manyanga, the entire industry. That's actually where nobody will ask you what is your tribe, is in the matatu industry. And we invite everyone else. We are not against anyone. What I was only referring to is, an investor has bought a vehicle. You as a driver, and Kitau is here, and that's what I want to say, because now Getao are the people who are spoiling the name of the investor. If you've been given a vehicle by a prominent person, don't take advantage on that person to soil his name or to stamp on other people. You see, because we have an elite society, because that one will work against you at a given point. If you go telling everyone that your sister is an OCS and you can kill me and go to the OCS, that's very wrong. There is now impunity that we can say it can work against you at one point. We want people to grow in the industry. We want whoever, from where you come from, regardless of your society, position in society, you come, do business, and then, don't, because it's long term. You're young, you are very young, you have many years to live. You might have a dream of becoming a leader. Don't give a reason why people will ask, when you had this position, this is what you did. At times you must work, and something that works for you today, you must see the impact that you'll have tomorrow. So those are the things that we really want to, because we want to talk and try to address the challenges, the problems, because still there's the regulatory issues. I don't know why you didn't invite the NTSA. We could have questioned them here, because apparently they're doing a disservice to us at times. A platform like this, we can be able to. Coming back to you, on the issue, Nwawili, is convincing. We want to convince you. Actually, you don't really understand how it works. Unapataka kuna watu tunapiga ndani wa seti. Unaingia, gari kuna watu 10, na hapo mtu anaenda ni mmoja. You get, because Nairobians, every Nairobian is in a hurry. Anataka gari najaa, so tuna dupu kidogo, ukiingia unaona hii ni kujaa inajaa. So watu wengi watakuja haraka ijaa iende.
Mchezo wa town.
So ni wawili ni mchezo wa town.
Mchezo wa town.
Okay.
Mchezo wa town.
Yeah.
But we did invite someone from the NTSA. I'm trying to remember kuliendaje, but
with the NTSA invite.
There was a delay, but
okay. But yeah, they were obviously going to be a critical part of this. We'll get the county perspective as well in a moment. I was also curious to hear from the drivers whether they also feel respected. It's such a complex thing. Do they feel respected?
Right.
Just generally as a profession, by Kenyans, by passengers. We'll find out about safety, passenger safety. Again, I'm looking at Anita. I think, is Anita the only? Yes, she's the only lady here. Yeah. So from that perspective of their role in Ganya culture, and whether her, as a passenger, as a person who identifies with this culture, feels like she's also safe in it. But Rachel, I wanted to come to you. You've heard this conversation. You've heard everybody's reactions. When you started speaking, when we first spoke to you in this conversation, I know you were speaking highly of the culture. You're saying it's an identity thing and it's also a select few who are disrupting. But the more you've heard the conversation go along, there are some deeper issues there just in terms of law enforcement and implementation. Some are arguing, as the owner, I don't have any other business. If the policeman or somebody on the road understands that law enforcement has to be there, they should. But are there people taking advantage of this and therefore disrupting the culture and the positive identity that it has?
Okay, thank you, Janet. I think at the end of the day, for us as a county government, we work very closely with the police because they are the ones that they have the mandate to be able to enforce a lot of the things that you see here in the industry. But as a county, for us, there are no sacred cows. We deal with everyone equally. And that's how we deal with everyone, despite everything that my brother Asila has said. You're prominent, you're not prominent, it doesn't matter. We'll deal with you. It's a straight line for us. We just saw mood passing. And they're following the law. So I think a lot of the times what happens is that I think the bar of like a Matatu like mood is so much higher because people are already expecting them to make a mistake. So I pity the driver of mood and such Matatus because they have to work 10 times harder to prove that they're not doing anything wrong. But for us, we deal with, if my brother Bosira said it very clearly, if a Matatu makes a mistake, we deal with the driver. If there's a payment that the Matatu owner needs to make, they go back and continue with their work. Most of the times you find that even the Matatu owner does not even know that the driver is making those mistakes. Once they know, most of the times when we talk to them, they get shocked. They're like, I didn't actually realize the driver was making that mistake or this person was making that mistake. But as I said, we cannot categorize the entire batch.
You can't do blanket condemnation. But
Correct.
from observation, and I'll play devil's advocate, some might argue, no, I hear you, Michelle, but what we see happening a lot is flouting of rules on every route and road. So even if you're saying it's a select few, and this is really just playing devil's advocate, appreciating how incredible the culture is, but also understanding that a lot of people on the road are saying, no, I can hear what he's saying, but it's very different from what's happening. So then where is the disconnect?
I think that's a question that will probably be answered better by police, because they're the ones that are on the ground, they're the ones that do a lot of the enforcement. And we work with police a lot to ensure that those flouting, the people that flout the law are reprimanded, and the drivers are taken to court and they pay whatever it is they need to pay. It has to be a collaborative effort between us as a county and the enforcers, who is the police.
But also, what role are you playing as well as Chief of Mobility in just creating a more conducive environment to make sure that, everything, and I think it's the entire line, it's everybody from the driver, the passengers, the Nganyas themselves. How are you also playing a role in creating a better environment across the board so that kind of affects what happens on the roads?
Okay, thanks, Janet. My brother Bosire here, and we're in a couple of groups and teams where a lot of the owners and a lot of the leadership of the Matatu industry are part of. We work very well with them and we collaborate very well with them. Whenever we see any problems, we work closely together. They are able to cascade any information or any details down to their teams, to the Matatu, the different Matatu owners, and to the conductors and the drivers as well. That engagement helps us as a county, because we're working with leaders and we're ensuring that if there's a problem, it's a team effort. We're able to engage them and they're able to know what problems there are. You'll find a lot of the leadership, they know the problems and they want to make changes. So they appreciate the support, they appreciate the engagement, they appreciate how we work with them. So when the industry improves, they benefit the most. So they're always ready to hear from us and see how we can work together.
Okay.
All right. I wanted not to hear from the drivers and, of course, the crew. Lentao, na passengers pia, the question of flouting traffic rules all the time, either overlap ama kubeba too many people, or kupiga in every traffic rule you can think of, kupiga U-turn where there's no U-turn, izo maswali zote. Is it part of Nganya culture, or is it a few bad apples, a few bad people who break the rules? Ama it's part of the culture and it's just how things operate? Aya, wacha nirudi hiyo swali kidogo. I think
mi yangu ningeongea juu ukitoka kwa nyumba unajua kile kimekutoka kwa nyumba, si hiyo kama ni utaweka, lakini utabalance. Kama ni jam, tuko siku na simu unaangalia jam kwenye kuna jam, si lazima upige ati alongside na unaona. So hiyo ni mtu anataka kuvunja sheria. Juu kama mimi sasa huwa naangalia jam na simu, naweza pita GPO angalia jogoro liko sawa, kama aje kuna jam unajua penye utapi, si lazima uvunje sheria.
Okay. Sawa.
Juu unajua kile kimekutoka kwa nyumba.
There was a question that Janet had asked, the same, just giving it back to the drivers. Do you feel as if people understand you, the crew? Number one, wadosi wanyama 3 wanawaelewa. Number 2, karao wanawaelewa. Number 3, passengers wanawaelewa. Na watu ambao si passengers wanawaelewa. Ama do you feel unfairly judged as Matatu drivers and crew? Answer to haraka.
Ukipatiwa gari na mwenyewe, lazima kuna agreement mmeandikia naye ndio uchukue gari yake. Na bado ukichukua gari, unajua lazima ujue sifa ya mtu kitamchukua gari yake. Kama ni mgeni utamjua saa ukiwa ndani yake. Sasa abiria wanapenda manyanga juu inajaribu kuhepa jam, lakini si lazima wabarafu. Kuna njia nyingi za kuhepa jam, ndio maana tupenda juu tunaharakishia.
Na karao
nao tunajua ni mtu kama wewe, so utajua utadili na yeye.
Hakunanga pressure ya target ya siku.
Target iko hiyo ni agreement. Ukipatiwa gari mwenyewe ni agreement. Gari yangu ni pesa fulani. So kama utaweza utacha tu. Kama utaweza uendelee. Ukishindwa katikati ajipatie mtu mwingine.
Na mbona kiti ya mbele ni ya makwela peke yake? Mbona Latif na Asila hawezi kaa mbele?
Ataka unajua hiyo kitembele unakukuta pengine hata anaweza nipigia simu niwekee kitembele. Nitamwekea. Na ikawa kwa mtu mwingine piga simu mbele yake, itabidi aelewe tu.
Asila anaweza kaa kitembele. Asila anajulikana. Let's take a break though. We are coming up to the top of the hour. It's coming up to 9 a.m. Tuko mic kwa ground, having one conversation at a time, fixing the nation on the issue of the culture, the visibility, and the law. This is a lot. And we have here with us the Chief Officer in charge of mobility in the Nairobi City County Government, Mashelo Ikenda. He is telling us about how the county government is supporting the mobility sector. But also we've got many questions to answer. This is what you guys promised in terms of bringing order to this Nairobi and making sure that then we have, better organization. Where do Matatus park and all? We have owners and investors here. We've got Matatu crew here. We've got people who are creative in this sector. We've got content creators. We've got graffiti designers. We've got designer and how water kwapa. Keep it here. This conversation continues for another hour. Back in a moment.
It is the final hour of Fixing the Nation this hour. We have Mariam Bisha, Eric Latif, myself, Janet Mbogwa, talking about Nganya culture. If you're one of those people on the roads and you're like, he's in Nganya zinasumbua, ziko na kelele, they're always doing this and that, understand, number one, it is a culture and community, but number two, there's a deeper story to it. So where does the culture and identity come in? Flouting rules. We're getting a lot of perspective from drivers, from the Nairobi Mobility County. We have creators, everything that was said in the previous hours. They're sharing their perspective, and it's giving us a deeper understanding into Nganya culture. So we'll get back into it in just a moment. But first, a news fix that we're following for you. NCBA Kenya and Kenya Association of Manufacturers is set to host a CEO breakfast this morning. The event was scheduled to bring together NCBA executives, government stakeholders, CAM leadership, and key stakeholders in manufacturing and banking to discuss matters of mutual interest. The key guests listed include Nderitu Mureithi, KRA Chairman, Albert Mwenda, the Director General of Budget, Fiscal and Economic Affairs at the National Treasury, Jane Karuku, the Chairperson of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, James Gossip, the Managing Director of NCBA Kenya. So again, that meeting is taking place this morning.
And on to our last news fix now for the hour. It's Apple crushing Wall Street expectations as iPhone sales roar amid Trump tariff jitters. Now, Apple has reported sales and profit that far surpassed expectations, showing that its effort to reroute its sprawling global supply chain away from U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war have so far succeeded. Good news there. Apple earned $94.04 billion in revenue for its fiscal third quarter that ended on June 28th, an increase of nearly 10% from a year earlier, and beating analyst expectations of $89.54 billion, according to the London Stock Exchange Group data. That means that its earnings were up $1.57 per share. And of course, they went up about 2% in the hours after trading. Sales of iPhones, the company's best-selling product, were up 13.5%, beating analyst expectations. Sales of wearables like AirPods and Apple Watches were $7.4 billion, missing estimates of 7.82 billion shillings. Apple has been shifting productions of products bound for the US, sourcing iPhones from India and other products such as Macs and Apple Watches from Vietnam. Now, the CEO, Tim Cook, told Reuters that the company set seasonal records for upgrades of iPhones, Macs, and Apple Watches. About a lot of growth being seen there. Very interesting that even as we struggle with, a slow global economy, iPhone sales are still doing this. That is something to be studied for sure.
Yeah.
How do you make your product recession-proof?
Recession-proof.
Yeah.
It's the culture.
It's the culture.
They created a culture
Nganya
around
culture.
their products. And that culture is just basically just what maintains it. It's a brand, just the brand itself, the brand equity itself.
Right.
It's rising. Maybe it's the same thing you can say, Jano, about our culture for the Nganyas. But then how can we then say that this is something that is benefiting the country, benefiting the county in terms of just the business and promoting business and supporting business, but also creating job opportunities. Like you've said, Asila here, Kina Jemo here, and the work that they do in the sector, the people who are employed doing the graffiti, the bodyworks, the design of the sound, the lighting, the all, and beyond that, the content creators.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just before we come back and address the question you'd asked, Marshall, in the beginning, content creation, we've had some incredible insights here. I want to go back again to Anita as a woman who fell in love with the industry enough to cover it. I just want to learn from Anita. Number one, was that disruptive? Were people like, unafanya nini hapa dem? You're not supposed to be the one reviewing Nganya culture. It's not necessarily something that's done. Number one. Number two, just speaking broadly on safety, I think Nganya culture bypasses gender. It's just youth oriented. But still, from a woman's perspective, is there a safety issue? Is there a barrier issue that you feel? So talk to us about all that. What you love about the culture, if people pushed back about you being a woman who is reviewing, and then the safety matters as well.
I remember that fateful day when I first created my video. My first YouTube video I was creating. Nakumbuka nikiwa, I was shooting with Umoja Nganya, opposite, also the current Kenya 001. And I remember that time, men were looking at me ni kama nimepotea. Like I remember, walikuwa wananiangalia wanashangaa, msichana ni nini anafanya. I remember there's actually one content creator who's a guy who actually later came and told me, but then nilikuwa nashanga unafanya nini kwa opposite, nilikuwa nashanga wewe ni demu unafanya nini hapo, you know. So I can't say that I received backlash, no, because once I put out my content, once I nilipena content yangu huku nje, watu walianza ku accept in such a way that hata siku hizi nikienda tuseme kwa stage yote, hata for example stage ya Kayole Junction or stage ya Umoria Emba, unapata wase wanakuuliza, Anita, unatuwekea video nyingine, video like unatuwekea video tena lini, like kuna Nganya imetokea, so kama review. Even aside from even the fans, I can say also hata like madereva and the crew, they normally like, even when Nganya comes, wananiambia manze come, Nganya yetu imekam, come to review Nganya nini. So I can say yes, once I started, people were wondering what I was doing, but with time they accepted the art because they saw the content I'm doing is more of like bringing people together in the culture. Yes.
Anita, does that make you money?
Yes, I can say doing content. Yes, it brings it is a source of living. I can say it's a source of living for me. Yes.
Okay. And now, speaking of the money conversation, I want killer player in this industry to give us their return on interest. And I don't mean numbers, but just basically what you get out of it and how long it takes. And I'll start with owners and investors. Ukishaeka all those millions into that Nganya, when do you expect to see return on investment? And of course, the safety one. Yes, you wanted to touch on the safety question as well. Please go ahead. But then we'll come back to, every person in the sector, how do you get your money? I know for some it's very clear, it's very, you come, you do the body, you do the drawings, you do the graffiti, you get paid, you go home, fine. But sometimes it's not as clear, especially when it's a return on investment thing. But please speak to the safety, Anita. Yeah.
Okay. On the safety part of it, I can say, nowadays, you can't compare Nganya culture ya kitambo na ya sahi. Nganya culture ya kitambo, yes, kulikuanga na hizo stories za people are hanging, nini. Hata sahi siwezi sema haziko. Yes, ziko, but ukiangalia sahi iko kinda minimized. Si kama kitambo. So I can say, with time, Nganya culture will tutafika hapo. Yes, I know sometimes yes kuna hiyo part ya security yenye wase safety yenye wase mtu ako like manzi hiyo Nganya imelala sana imefanya nini. Yes, I understand kuna those few drivers and probably those few youth or people who hang and do all that, but I mean with time we are like ndasemaje, with time tuna improve, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
Yes.
I just came from Gigi for a while, just before you start Bosire. Let me start with Gigi. Working on Nganya makes more money than another Matatu, right?
There's some truth to it.
Okay.
Kwa sababu Nganya like Moxie, niambie ni watu wangapi it's appealing to your eyes. Unataka hii gari inakapua. Inakaje ndani? Acha
Ningia.
ni sample ni sample nijue nione venye inakaa. So tuunganya ndasema it's true kwa sababu utapata gari kama Moxie it will take like less than 10 minutes kwa stage kuja, because people like hey Moxie nimeiona nimeisikia nataka I want to feel what it has to offer. Unaona? Na mtu pia nataka ile value for your money. Unajua hapa nikipanda napata entertainment, ndo na NTV pale, mic kwa ground, on the other screen ndo na there's a lot of things unazoona. And before there's something I wanted to talk about. Hiyo mambo nasema floating off laws, traffic laws. For me what I can say really, na hii tu ni ukweli, ni hiyo tena ina go back to the crew yenye kuna gari. Like for example Croatia, I mean that is his nickname, namuta Croatia. Guitar.
Croatia.
Yeah, Croatia. 90 plus. Yeah. So like for example Croatia. For me I've worked with Guitar for 2 years. And for me there's some things I know he can't do kwa barabara because one, anajua atakuwa ana endanger the lives ya passengers, his life na life yetu pia. So kuna ile coordination mimi na yeye. Croatia tupite, unajua there's sometimes me as youth nataka tuendeaje but for him ataniambia hapana because he knows that's not the best thing to kufanya. So crew yenye kuna gari itamata sana because pia sisi wenye tuko na kazi, tuko kwa hiyo gari tunataka tuchunge kazi. Kuchunga kazi najua sitafanya kitu yenye itafanya investor ni muiharibie gari ama nifanye kitu. Nataka kesho niamke kazi bado. So it's not like to attack the culture. The culture iko kando. So ni wale two individuals wenye wanafanya hiyo kitu what's not right. See, not everyone.
Thank you.
Mona, and kila mtu akona their way wana view things, the way they react to things hivyo. So encouragement yangu tu inaweza kuwa sisi wase tuko kwa culture, we try to do kitu yenye ayaribu jina, inatengeneza jina because we are advancing. Watu because unapata kuna abiria kitambo alikuwa there's that stereotype. Si stereotype kitambo kulikuwa na there's some facts to it. Watu wa matri wanakuanga hivi, watu wa matri wanakuanga hivi, watu wa matri. So wewe kama abiria ukisha make your mentality, the first thing unaniona ushaweka tu hizo vitu mbaya kwa kichwa yako, unaona? So as much to learn to accept. Pia sisi ni watu. Recently there's this guy anaitwa Telvo. You featured him alipeleka mse. You see, so si ati sisi watu wabaya. We are just there trying to make a living at the same time enjoying and giving ourselves good times. No, we are here for a short while. Sindo.
Thank you. Balance, exactly. Now we can get now to the investors. Yeah, you've put millions in a mat like Moxie, like Mood. When do you expect to see your return on investment? Yes. Yakeni, MCA.
Actually, there are two ways of acquiring a Matatu. Either you have the cash to do the entire cost, or you take a finance. And currently, we have financed 4 years plan. So if you have this, Matatu industry is slightly tricky because any vehicle, once you buy it, it started depreciating. So a manyanga, a vehicle could start earning you immediately because it's like Italy, because once you have done it, once it's on the road, it start getting you money. But now, how you spend the money, it really depends with you. If you bought it cash, I know Gitau is here, I can tell you, a manyanga can give you around 12,000-13,000 a day. You see now, with that kind of investment, so you can calculate on how much you want to get. But the lifespan, depending on the drivers, the way you have said, a well-serviced vehicle can last up to 10 years because these vehicles, most of them are zero mileage. So the Matatu business, you start earning immediately. Now is the discipline on your financing, on how you handle your finances. So it's a good business, but it has been stereotyped by people who don't have information, or people who have been scared by people who have not invested, or people who invested with the intention of trying to show off. You know, that you cannot, this is a business unless you have an ability to be patient with the business. You can give up so fast, but you start earning immediately. Now it's depending on how you cope. And lastly, on what he has said, and that's what I want to actually be like my parting shot, is let's not make our investors run away from the business as the drivers and the co-drivers. The way he has said, and that one are meant to be very insensitive on that. Let the driver, if you've been given a vehicle, do your work. Don't use that vehicle because you know the investor knows someone who knows someone who knows someone in a big office. Do it because an investor will get fed up with you if he feels you are not making money. And if you lose that job, are you able to work in another vehicle? Right. So those are a few things as a worker you need to look at. Don't abuse someone because you know your dad is in office, or you know someone who's in office. Asila, if your sister is an OCS, don't abuse because he can retire. Then where are you going to go if you're young?
Yeah, very, very true. I think the fact that you guys are all aligned is amazing. Message is the same, clearly. The culture we must protect, and we enjoy it, and it's a beautiful thing. Then we also need to protect each other's work, each other's livelihoods, right? I want to hear now from other people in the sector, again, on how lucrative it is for them from a SACCO and like management perspective. Alafu ndio sasa tusikie from even users, right? But let me start over here. Tuambie, from a management perspective, are the numbers making sense?
This business is very profitable when people are disciplined. When I say people, that is this conductors, the crew, drivers, and also the company that your bus is in. Again, the profit, you will get the profit at the 5th year, because most of us, the 5th year, most of us borrow from the banks, it's financed, and I believe you cannot you cannot maximize profit with just one bus. So you need multiple of buses to maximize profits.
Okay, and then that one is easy when you have operating capital, or at least you have some things that you can leverage. There's people who want to get into the industry genuinely. Hana logbook ya kupeleka bank, hana title deed ya kupeleka bank. They just want to get in. What's the easiest way to come into this industry from an outsider perspective?
Nowadays, banks are financing SACCOs, and whereby SACCOs are being financed, then SACCOs can give their members. So sometimes you give a deposit of 10%, which is 700,000, or 20%, which is 1.3. So nowadays it has become easier for everyone to earn. You can save 2,000 in a day, then maybe for a year or two, you'll be able to have your own bus.
Okay.
We want to ask the county, Michelle, the transport sector in this county is a big issue. So there is public transport. We like to call it public transport, but the truth is we don't have a public transport system. We have a privately organized mass transport system, and there is no public transport. Is there any plan for the county government to introduce a public transport system? And number two, is there any plan to retire these matatus that we see? The 14-seaters in the various routes, the 24 and the bigger 32-seaters in the various routes, in favor of the bigger buses, to reduce the number of vehicles on the road at any point. Is there such?
Thank you very much, Erling. First and foremost, no, there's no plan to retire. I think just alluding to the part of the question that you asked earlier first, in regards to decongesting of the city. What the approach we're taking is more towards the approach of compliance and enforcement. First and foremost, the governor last year stopped the issuance of any new slots here in the CBD. And that has helped in a very big way with decongesting, especially the CBD. And for compliance is working with the leadership in Nairobi, especially the Matatu leadership through corridors, to ensure that if you have 2 slots, just maintain your 2 slots, try to reduce the wait times for your Matatus and your buses, so that we don't create traffic, like, for instance, like on this road. Working with them and working with the stakeholders makes our work much easier because now we're able to ensure that we have solutions that last. Additionally, with working with police, working with our own enforcement, we ensure that if people are not doing what they're supposed to do in regards to the slots and the wait times, that assists also to ensure that we have the CBD to be decongested. In regards to the plan for the county government, the governor has had a plan to construct light rail, similar to the one that is in Dubai. And that's something which we have been working on with the plans and benchmarking there as well to see how we can be able to build it here in the CBD and in Nairobi County. So it's something that we're working on. It's something that we do intend to conclude and to complete, hopefully to support the local infrastructure here as well.
Okay. You know, Mariam, you know how many governors we've had in Nairobi?
3.
6.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Kidero, Sonko.
Yes, after
Sakaja.
Sonko. No, between Sonko and Sakaja. There was a county speaker,
yes.
Muturo.
Oh my God. You're
Then
right.
there was Ann Kananu, and then Sakaja.
Yes.
Right? So we've had a
quite-
number of them.
yeah.
And all of them have had a conversation around introducing an enhanced mass transport system.
Yeah.
Then there's NAMATA, the Nairobi Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, that brings in Nairobi plus the adjacent counties. And they're the ones who drew those yellow lines on Thika Superhighway a couple of years ago. Remember the pink lines?
Yes.
I remember the things that are called the pink buses, saying that the plan was to introduce new lines. There's a new line that comes from Thika Superhighway.
Yeah, BRT,
it goes all the way to Denise. And then Matatus will be terminating somewhere in Kasarani, and then you get into a bus, a longer bus, that then brings you into the CBD. Now you're hearing this county government, the current administration, has no plans to retire these Matatus. So it's confusing.
It is. Even from there's that.
Yeah.
Even the stage, like a simple issue, a stage 2. Yovilo Mesema.
Yeah. What is the long-term plan
Right.
to ensure that there's a proper mass transport system? I know light rails. Kidero talked about light rails. Sonko talked about light rails. Sakaja is talking about light rails. The longer buses, the BRCs, again, same. Namata has talked about them. We are still talking about them now.
The electric buses.
Electric buses and so on and so forth. There was even a subway system. Who talked about subway?
Hey.
Was it Kidero or was it Sonko? There's been a subway conversation. No, Kidero talked about the cables.
Okay.
The cable cars.
Come on, San Francisco.
Cable cars. Too many. What plan have you inherited from the previous that you're actually now looking at and saying, this one could not work, this one will work, and this is how we shall move forward. And this is what we shall hand over to the next governor.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of the previous administrations, but I can speak on behalf of this one. On behalf of for this administration, we have made a lot of progress for the light rails. It's something that we do intend. As I said, I can't speak on behalf of everyone else, but I can speak on what I've seen for myself. It's something that is in the process. The challenge we are facing is the cost that it would require to be able to construct such a massive infrastructure project, especially such a project being done by a county government compared to being done by a national government based on the budget that we have as a county. Traditionally, such a project would be managed and done by the national government because it's something that would entail a lot of money. But it's something that we have been working on. So in regards to NAMATA, I can't speak on behalf of NAMATA as well, but I know that the BRT plans have been ongoing. There's a gazette notice that was approved and passed by the county government last year in December in regards to the BRT as well. And it's something that we are implementing, in the process of implementing, working with the stakeholders as well. Okay, so I hope I've answered, Eric.
You have answered, in a way.
Answer light.
Speaking of, sorry, Jano.
No, go ahead, Mariam.
I'm thinking of stakeholders, and in the Matatu industry, I don't see many female stakeholders. And you had touched on it with Anita Kidogo.
Yeah.
But one, is it me, miss? Are there women entering the industry right now? And I mean everywhere.
From ownership
to
crew.
to crew, to
even
review, to the artwork, to everything. I want to know if there's women entering the industry at any point, and if there's anything being done to encourage more women getting in the industry. Asila umenod sana.
kuansa hiyo question, sahi hata gari mingi sana za madem. Acha niseme the female, okay? Like pia job zetu za design, we have the female people in it. The wiring, we have female. So as I can say, it's encouraging to see more female entering the business. Like before kitambo ilikuwa tukiona mdem amekam job kwa garage inakuwa mdem unacheki, but saa hii ni kawaida. Hata ukiangalia ma conductor, kuna ma conductor females na watu washaichukua normal. Kitambo ungeona makanga amesimama hapo ni msichana, ni kitu abnormal, umeona? So tunaweza sema tu pia ishakuwa open for everyone. Yes.
Yeah.
Maderena makamagera,
yep.
Makonda. Oh yeah. Jonathan,
Mike.
Sorry guys, I forgot. I thought I was Mike, but I was like, I've not seen a female dere. That's the onanganya. That's it. Wako.
Ngoja Jemo kujibu pia.
Aya. Hey, naona answers are many. Poleni. Ni mimi nimesema sijaona, sijasema hawako.
The female energy iko kwa Matatu culture because balancing ya energy. The word manyanga ni kitu beautiful. And kayu sema Jemo ni beautiful. So the beauty of it ina start from a women perspective. And always tumeishi kuona manyanga on the side of women. Ni venye ile brutal tu mnaiona, but the heart of Matatu culture iko kwa women. Like Moxie, inaoniona woman kama sijakosea kweli. The owner of Moxie na manyanga mingi like tuseme zenye not only hata manyanga, hata company like WM pia hiyo company bado imeshikiliwa na mwanamke. Na madere wako like Daisy ni mnoma, huo ni spin master.
Daisy yako route gani?
Kasa. Dereva Ndogogio.
Yeah.
Noma sana.
Okay. Gigi pia alikuwa anataka.
Ndogogio bado hiyo gari ni ya dem, ni ya mama.
Ni ya dem pia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gigi, you agree?
I agree. Saizi okay, from kitambo ulikuwa unajuanga mambo ya matri kwa mlango hapo wapi ni za machali. So sai the babes pia wanaingia. But now issue ni inakonga zile za kuwa judged. Wewe ni dem unafanya nini hapo? Ile kwa unaona such thing, but tunasahau probably ako hapo pia anatafuta do like the other guy. Mona. So for me na encourage waendelee kukam, support them like unaona like Moxie, unaona investor ni she's a babe, she's a female.
She's a babe. Hakuna ubaya, she's a babe. Yes.
Ni female, so you can see what she has done to the matri. Unaona venye iko appealing. Amejituma, ameinvest vizuri, ameleta at least kitu ya unajua huku nje kuna magari mingi matri utapata ingine imechorwa sijui nani imechorwa nani. So I think her idea was acha let me give something to the babes, si ndio? At least pia wakiona wanaona at least kuna kitu yetu pale. Yeah, so yeah, exactly.
Let's hear from the other players and how we're getting women in the industry. From an investor perspective, at least nasikia there's several female owners. Would love to hear more if there's anything intentional being done to get more women in the matatu industry, or if it's just organically happening. No, just as zingine si ati lazima to push. It just happens.
I think as mass mobility operators association, we've really tried to bring in women. And I can assure you, like, we have leadership women. Like now, the company you are seeing, City Hopper, the Double M, Kasa Trans, hiyo umesikia huyo babe mwingine akona manyanga huko, na ameajiri dem bado. You know, they are coming, and actually, it's a good thing because the industry is for of us. It's for of us, and we want everyone to own it. And that's why we don't want the government to win and introduce public transport that we own, because you know it will collapse. Like Kenya Airways is collapsing. So it's good that we are here and we are providing it. The only thing that we are working on... You
don't want the government to introduce public transport?
We don't, because it will fail. Why do you want it to introduce? Then we go, then it fails, then you walk. So what we want to do is... we improve what we have so that we can be there for the longest. Okay. Because why not for transport? Bosire could not be here. So where do you want me to go? And let me tell you how many people are graduating. Do you have somewhere they are getting employment? No. But how many people are we observing in the transport sector? Is a lot. So we need to have it because the government will retrench you.
Bosire, when we're talking about the BRT, one of the plans in the BRT was, so the Matatu industry was actually called in by the government and told, how about you come together and invest in the longer buses? And then we have a properly managed system, clocking. In fact, I think you remember we talked about it a couple of months ago where Ngong was introducing, a proper route system where there's timing. Itakuwa every 15 minutes, basi iko kwa stage and so on and so forth. This is what the government was trying to do and say, how about you guys come together? Then you can come together maybe and pool as a circle. Instead of buying many small buses, you buy fewer, bigger buses, but you're running them as a circle. How about that?
Let me tell you one thing.
Tell me.
You see, you need to understand how our movement is as Nairobians.
Okay.
Actually, we move from 6 a.m. to around 9. That's when we move from our estates to CBD. And then we start moving from 4 to around 8 or 9 latest. That is when you get most of the people are moving. So our economy does not allow that. Let me tell you why it might not work.
Our economy does not allow bigger buses.
Bigger buses because, they can't. One, on that move, how we are moving. And that's why you have seen, they tried to move the 14-seaters. But see, they are there. The Nairobians want a vehicle that gets full fast, and they are on the move most of the time. These are 51-seater. And the other 3-seaters. You will see, if you can be able to count, you will see how many that 3 will pass here full without
and the 51s are still empty.
Sitting. And also, the issue to do with the government, and I think it's important, now we have a genuine conversation with government. Always, people who sit in government, any project they do is first what goes to their pockets first. That is where things to do with transport will not work. The BLT, if you remember the Thika Road, they painted red. They said this a line dedicated for BLT. Logically, it can't work. You see, there is no way out. You can squeeze yourself to a lane where it's the traffic, and there's a lane which is empty. You understand? So if we have to sort issue to do with transport, we need to start with infrastructure. Do we have infrastructure for these big vehicles? Then what are the routes? If we are coming from Thika, where are you going to end the route? Do we have an infrastructure from Thika, for instance, to Ngong, where we can reserve for those big buses? And what will be the intervals? What will be the challenge with public transport is the government is never serious. Actually, more so the national government, because that's where you hear a lot of stories, and most of the projects they are done without involvement of the stakeholders. Currently, the government does not own the industry. We own the industry. We need to sit in those sittings, we discuss, and then we come with what can work now and our projection in 10 years, so that we are able to address that.
Okay. Give my Jano the mic. Jano, basically what I'm hearing from Bosire is government get out. BRT, nini, forget it. Just leave us alone. We understand the business. We understand the travelers. We want to run this thing.
Yep. And I think he's pointing to where's the consistency, where's the intentionality, where's the follow-through. We understand it better. I wonder whether there's room for you guys to integrate with government, advise government, as opposed to Achaneni Nasisi, let's run this. Is there a way to do that, to work with?
Basically, we are really trying, because the only engagement that we have had, and at least it was kind of successful, when we had a pilot project on Ngong Road, we had a discussion with the Namata and the JICA group, and I think it was success, and we had notes to compare what needs to be done, and then we gave a recommendation. And I think we need to have a continuous engagement, and that's why I really wanted to have NTSA, so that we can ask them as well, because there are gaps. Because I've seen scenarios where they are saying Nganyas are causing accidents, and they don't have statistics. Because why should you say a vehicle with a music can cause an accident? Well, you know, we don't need to impound them. Because in Nairobi, we have not had issues of accidents, fatalities caused by Mganyas. If you count, if you remember, it was long ago that we had one accident, which can always happen, whether it's Nganya or not. So we need to have policy that really addresses the issues. We should not wait for something to happen, then we have a condemnation blanketly. Issues to do like, for instance, when like Super Metro, which has been for the longest, I don't say because we are competitors, I don't say they are the best, but in the public is the best. But you see, NTSA, one incident, they were suspended. You see, those are the things, can that address the issues of accidents, of impunity? We cannot. So we need to have a conversation. We say, this works, this doesn't work. But most of the problems, most of the times, they get experts from South Africa, from I don't know where, to address challenges of Nairobi, which is, to me, I know it won't work. It will take 100 years, and it will never be sorted.
Yeah. Just behind you, Bosire, there's a gentleman, Simiu. I hope I've gotten his name right. Yes, he's a fixer. We had spoken earlier. And he was telling us, as a user, are you a user? I'm just a lover of Matatu culture. Because tulikuwa na yeye pale Moxie, and he said, you know what? I like it. Comfortable, fun. Simiu, nimekumbuka jina yako, si ndio?
Yeah, you remember, you know my name.
Good.
My name is Simiu.
Yes.
Simiu.
Simiu.
That is my name. So I'm happy that I talked to you and told you that Matatus were doing well. They are giving service to members of the public in Kenya. And you know, I also told you that culture is very important. We need our young people to embrace the art and design so that they have innovative culture of doing the arts on their vehicles. It is not an offense for you to write a name like Nelson Mandela, who is our icon in Africa, on your car. That one is good so that we can remember. That is why I was telling you that Matatus are giving excellent service. And in the service, you must have competition. If your car is dirty, nobody will come in. And I wanted to tell you that those cars that unasikia wanasema wamebaki wawili ndio ijae, hizo matatu ndio zinakuanga mbaya. But for those ones like the one we have been interviewed with, that one sells itself. Mtu anaona na kuingia, ana entertain himself, there is Wi-Fi there, we have a radio. If you want to charge your mobile phone, it is there. So that person, even if however long it's going to take to stay in that car, this person will just wait until the car is full and it goes away. That's what I know. Over the issue of NTSA, I know when you are putting multicolors on the car, I don't think it is not an offense. It is not an offense when you are decorating yourself. Hata wewe ukitoka town, ukitoka nyumbani, ukikuja town, you must look at your mirror. Uchipake mafuta ukuwe sawa sawa, ndio ukipita mahali watu wanakuangalia. Sasa decorations are not bad. We must have good inscriptions and writings on those. So long as these matatus are following the traffic rules and regulations, they are also following the NAMATA rules, the NEMA rules. Na nataka kuambia wale watu wako na magari mzee. I know old is gold, but you have to upgrade your company so that you can meet the competition. Sisi sasa hapa Nairobi tumeona watu tunataka tukue na magari mazuri kama London. Hii magari mzee tunataka chief officer consider hiyo sasa, hata kama ni mrefu. If they are not going to upgrade, angalia time to remove these old vehicles from the road to pave way for the new cultured motor vehicles so that we can have seamless service delivery in the matatu sector. Mwisho kabisa, I know very well whether you struggle with it or not. You know, Kenya is not Texas. I was saying Kenya is not Texas. It is a very small country that has got a very small budget. Hata wakijaribu namna gani hawawezi kununua public vehicles. They tried it with Nyayo bus, they failed. Na wakakula pesa. So there is no way they will come in and start carrying people for pay. That is all.
All right, guys, can we finish the conversation tukiwa kwa Moxie pale? Can we go across the road? We finish the conversation tukiwa pale kwa Moxie. Au sio? Yeah, we'll do that in just a minute, but I know Bosire wants to to add on to what Simiyu has just said.
Yes, me has really pinned it. We are doing it. That the government support us. And then transport. Give us 5 years. Nairobians will be using public transport. Now is the chief officer here and the county government of Nairobi to do parkings outskirts of the CBD. And all will be well.
Okay.
Just want to add one more thing. And just to reiterate what my brother Bosiri has said, for the county government, for us, what we're prioritizing on is infrastructure. Like if you look at where we're sitting on right now is an NMT that we have constructed, or rather we're completed construct, all the way to the end of this stretch of Ambassador, and we're going also all the way to the other end of towards railway, on the other side as well, and including Kencom. So for us, with infrastructure in place and the right infrastructure in the city, we'll be able to ensure that we have a city of order, dignity, hope, and opportunity for all. Just that. Thank you.
Well, we'll go to Moxie in just a little bit, but I want to talk about, just as we're wrapping up, are there routes? Mbona Rongai, Buru, Eastlands as a whole, Ronga, there's places that have Nganya, Ponganya. Alafu kuna pengine ukienda at let me be honest, you could find a hole inside the Matatu. And it's not just one, it's all of them. So I want to know what also advises you on what routes from a business perspective. That one is called Stormzy, and I'm such a big fan.
One is called Stormzy.
It's called Stormzy, that one, and it's got like a, Stormzy picker at the back. But yes, what informs the business decision to go into certain routes and not others? Because as we talk about public transport and potentially having all of Nairobi going to, this mode, that would mean that you guys are in every route. And as it stands, sahi, kuna route za Nganya na kuna route za wengine.
Mambo na Nganya ni, hawa najua ni kufika bei where the clientels can be able to afford. Because normally Nganya inakuwa ni expensive kidogo. So, Islando, mahali kama Umo, wanafika bei, Ronga, Ngong, Kiteni kidogo, is the class where there's preference. Like Embakasi. Embakasi is where we have majority of the Nganyas. And then we have Kiambu. So it's where you can be able to afford and get the return on the Nganya because it's really costly.
It's really costing. Mariam will be joining us just now from Moxie. Some quick feedback. We have a lot of feedback coming in today. Watu wamesema Nganyas are becoming a public nuisance. Their customer service is appalling. They pick you from the terminus. They drop you wherever they please. Sam Masika ndio amesema hivyo. Mwingine ameuliza, by the way, Green Park. So people are talking about
Kuliendaje.
Kuliendaje Green
Na
Park.
wamesema ujibu.
Okay. So they're asking, is Green Park bus terminus in operation? Mwingine ameuliza tu tulichezwa, so some clarity.
Yeah, just thank you, Janet. Yes, it is in operation. If you go to Green Park now, utapata magari zimejaa huko. So it is in operation and it's functional. Yeah.
Short and sweet. End of story. Somebody else has talked about, they're just talking about the history of Nganyas. Nganya operators are always in conflict with border riders due to impatience. Somebody can speak to that. I'm planning to be an investor starting this month. Ebu, Wilfred, please advise me nifanyaje ndio nisifail.
Ile kitu unafaa ufanye kama uko na pesa, uko na deposit, unafaa ukuje kwetu tukuadvise kama hujaifanya, sababu kuna mambo mingi huwezi jua sahi, but you need to have a sit down with those who have done it before you. They give you an advice, ndio udecide kama utaingia ama utaacha.
Si utupatie advice hapa sisi wote. Why do I need to come to the office? Tuko hapa.
Okay. First of all, ukuje utengeneze gari yako ikuwe vizuri. Ukuwe na conductor. Okay, gari yote ni 7 million. But sasa ukiweka hizo extras, hizo decoration na nini, itakuwa zaidi ya 7 million. If you don't have 7 million, maybe you can have a deposit of 10%, which is 700,000, maybe 20 or even 50%. So unaweza kuja na hizo pesa, udeposit kwa dira, na kama hauna finance yako, Sacco can finance you. Yes.
Then beyond that, what do I need to, first of all, be a member of the Sacco? Do I need to pay, like, is there...
You need to register in a Sacco. Then you become a member, you deposit you save for 6 months. Yes.
How do I choose the Sacco to go to?
Then now, that is your job. You go out, you choose the best circle.
I shop for a circle.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I know we're about to cross over. I just want to get just a final round, like a parting shot. I think a lot of people appreciate that there's been a deep understanding of Nganya culture. Starting from Asila, you started the morning with us telling us about the business, telling us about how probably it's the thing that unatumia to raise your family, right? What's the one thing that you want to share with the public? Kitu ambao wamekosa understand around Nganya culture that you just tell them, this is the one thing that I want to leave Kenyans with, one message.
One message I can say, okay, ni kama ni two message, but wacha niseme tu on me. Sawa. First of all, we can never be the same. No matter what. Lazima kukuwe na boundaries. Na lazima life ifavor mtu mmoja na mwingine isimfavor. That's how life is. So you hata tufanye nini venye huyu ananiambia sijui sistangu anaweza kuwa sistangu anaweza kuwa OCS. Ndafaidika hiyo moment yuko. Sawa. I will enjoy while it lasts. Ikiisha ni hivyo. So pia huyo mtu mwingine pia mnafahamu muelewe hivyo. The second thing ni mina pray to government ituelewe, this a job. Sai tuko over hata 10,000 designers. Na mimi nikikuja tulikuwa less than 100. So hiyo ni kitu inamaanisha watu wengi sasa wanachukulia hiyo kazi kama serious work. Juu kama mimi nimekwambia sijaifanya kazi nyingine. I have kids, I have a wife, na hii ndio job nakula. So tukisema kwa mfano venye wanasema sijui watu walete BRT sijui nini, ziko na zimefail. So ati ziko tu huku zinazungukanga. Lakini hauwezi compare na Nganya. Nganya iko na watu wake.
Sawa.
Asante.
Sawa. Jemo?
For me naweza sema Matatu culture ina support talent yangu in a big way, from being an artist or designer. And naweza urge all the Kenyans to save Matatu culture because ni platform kubwa na ni an open world na ina transform a lot of youth. So ni kitu poa na naweza encourage wase wengi wa boost, inatubadilishia life na itambadilishia pia nyenye life cause while una board ma3 ukiwa passenger, mimi sijaion gari ati niseme hii personal ni yangu, but kila mtu iko na ile matatu inasemanga hii gari ni yetu, hii gari ni yetu, hii gari ni yetu. Kuna ule atakuringia kona Prado, atakuringia kona Range Rover, but sisi watu wa matatu tunakuaga imboko ni yetu, imboko ni yetu.
One thing I'd like to say about the culture ni hii culture yetu inatuletanga togetherness in every way, and I myself identify with the Nganya culture. So mimi naweza sema kwa mtu mwenye haja bado probably mtu mwenye haja accept the Matatu culture, just give it a try, and I'm so sure you'll like it. Now there's one popular saying that the youth wanasemanga just for fun, wanasemanga Nganya haiwezi ku heartbreak, which is hapo naweza wa support kwa sababu kweli Nganya haiwezi ku heartbreak.
Nganya can't break your heart, eh?
Okay, my parting shot is the government should really engage us, and we have the solution to this problem they are calling a problem. It's not a problem, it's a business. And I want to get back to my senior here, Chief. Green Park didn't work because we were never consulted. Green Park was an imaginary issue to relocate public transport. And the public transport, we are transporting people to CBD, and most of this business, we support them.
Thank
so
you. We have just a few minutes left. From this end, just really thanking every single one of you. I know that we're going to end by crossing over to Mariam, who's at Moxie. You guys have given us a lot of perspective. Asanteni sana. Thank you for everything you do. Let's cross over to Mariam as we wind up on Mike Kwa Ground, just talking everything Nganya culture. Rewatch this video just to get insights and figure out how you can be part of the culture. From me, Janet Bugwa, Eric Latif, let's cross over to Mariam Bishar to wind up at Moxie.
It's about to be a wrap. Tumesema leo ni Nganya culture, and we meant it 100%. So wacha tumalizie show hapa. Moxie has been our Nganya of the day. 10 over 10 would highly recommend. Nimeombea ni bashu kondani, Jano, Latif wanakuja so that we can have a good time. Wacha tuingie. Jano, Latif wakifika, I'll be ready to go. If you are a fan of Nganya culture and you've been talking to us, we really appreciate you. If you're halfway about it, tuambie why. And if you think that safety and Nganya culture can't coexist, why? After we've had this entire discussion, right? It's a great part of Nairobi culture, of the country's culture. Let's make sure we see it, we embrace it, but that we also balance it with safety, with regulations, right? With a good working public transport system. Aya, Jano, Eric wanaingia. As you can see, it's time for us to go in. Nangoja lit boy pia amechelewa. Hi. Hi, Jano.
Hi, Mariam.
Where did you leave Eric?
Is that the first question?
Yeah.
Eric should be. He was crossing with me.
Okay.
He was crossing.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Hindio Moxie.
Yes. Hindio Moxie.
Moxie Mebamba. I love it. I love the pink energy. I love the female energy. To be honest, this has been one of the best convos I think we've had. Yep. It's respecting the culture, a culture that a lot of people I think misunderstand. So, yeah. Moxie tatupeleka wapi, Mariam? Route.
Unataka kwenda wapi?
Takwambia sidebar. They might be like, Janet, it doesn't go there. Yeah.
Tufike tu Nation Center. Tufike tu Nation Center. I love it. Yeah. To be quite honest, the pink energy is very me. Niaje Eric. Ulikuwa umeacha. Hey, kujinais nayo. What thoughts on Moxie?
Eish. Kamagera ndo huyu sasa. Ndo huyu. Ronga sio?
Yes. Aya, twende. Tufike Nation Center at least.
Yes.
Aya, basi twende.
Hey.
Let me sit here.
Yes.
Yani it has everywhere.
Yeah, actually everywhere. Gigi, Zambia Gitau to the Nation Center. Speak Nation Center. Gitau, speak Nation Center. Nation Center. Yes. Aya. So we're going to Nation Center. That's where our final destination is. All meaning gependa tufike a bit further, but that's just me. Guys, final thoughts on Nganya culture. Tunafunga 30 seconds.
Wacha nikwambie, where I'm seated, by the way, sijui kama Karisu unanipata, unacheki mali niko hapa hivi. Ndio mimi huyo hapa hivi. Screens everywhere. Everywhere is just screens. Alafu kuna hii kiti hapa, unakaa hivi, uangalie mbele, unaangalia on the side. I think unakaa watu wawili.
Yes, wawili hapo.
Wawili pale across, and then here. Hey, I'm liking it. It's a vibe. And it's well mixed, so it's not loud. Lakini wanaongezanga volume. Utasikia.
Saa zingine. Jano, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Nganya culture, it's welcoming people to understand it and embrace it. I think that's one of the best things I've heard today. A lot of people misunderstand it. It's created so many job opportunities, and it's created a whole new identity and culture. So, nimependa sana.